Hello, my presentation today is on the topic of the ethical use of information for teachers. As educators, we always remind our students that the research, images, and ideas that they use in their assignments should be properly cited. But we also need to make sure that we are setting a good example and priming our students for success. I remember the first time that I saw a professor include a footer on one of her assignments, which acknowledged that it was adapted from another teaching professional, including their name and institution. As a college freshman, the idea seemed revolutionary to me. Of course, I was used to textbooks and publications citing their research and sources, but I had never seen one of my instructors do the same work to properly credit the creator of an assignment. It was just a simple footnote at the bottom of the page, and I've since made an effort to include similar attribution on the assignments that I've adapted from other sources. Here's an example of what that looks like on a worksheet that I used for my English classes. As I've gone further in my academic career, I've seen more and more professors include this sort of acknowledgement on materials that are used in their courses. It makes sense. Of course, we can't create all of our own assignments from nothing, but it was something I had never seen done in high school classes, and I would like to encourage that to change. One thing that we as educators can do to help our students understand how to ethically use information is to explain fair use to them. It may be helpful to let them know how copyright law works, instead of just drilling down that plagiarism is bad. Of course, we need to cite where we get our information for research papers, but what about images? How does fair use apply to copyrighted images in the context of education? Let your students know that copyright does not have one set of clearly defined regulations, and fair use is determined on a case-by-case basis. But in general, teachers and students can use small portions of copyrighted materials for nonprofit educational purposes. Remind them that fair use does not give an exemption from providing credit or acknowledgement to the material's source, it just protects from copyright infringement. If you as an instructor use an image from copyrighted materials as part of a presentation for class, you're likely safe from copyright infringement. But remember to set a good example and cite your source. The image on the right shows all of the considerations that factor into rulings on fair use, and the source for this image is on the final slide of my presentation. Another way to encourage students to ethically use information, especially images, is to connect them to resources that have public domain and copyright-free resources. I've included several websites on this page, and I encourage you to pass these along to your students. Also, spend some time browsing these catalogs for your own use in your educational materials. The Library of Congress's free-to-use collection is very extensive, and their materials are broken down into smaller collections to make it easy to find relevant content. Raw Pixel's public domain collection contains a variety of artwork, and OpenVerse's catalog also has free-to-use audio clips. While many of these free-to-use websites do not require attribution for their images, I still encourage that you provide a link back to the original page where you sourced the material. It keeps your source acknowledgments transparent to students and encourages consistency in citing all materials that you use. The last thing that I want to shout out is Creative Commons, a nonprofit organization that helps create and sustain a large bank of publicly funded knowledge, openly licensed images, data models, and plenty of other educational materials. I've included a link to their About page here, which in turn links to their various collections and collaborations. They also have opportunities to volunteer and participate in their mission, and they offer online Creative Commons certificate courses for educators and academic librarians. Even if you don't want to go as far as taking a course from the Creative Commons, I hope that this presentation has made you think a little bit more about how we use materials and properly source them to encourage our students to do the same. Here are all of the resources and images that I've used in this presentation. Thank you.